welcome back to this channel of crafting, crochet and knitting. My name is Nikki and welcome to my little yarniverse. So hello, how are you? I am tired as ever, that's the theme. Yeah, super excited to show you this week's video. So a little while ago I mentioned that my husband was going on a trip to Scotland and I was supremely jealous because I have really wanted to go to Scotland. I'd like to just see the landscape, possibly the aurora, and also the yarn shops, obviously. So yes, very jealous, and therefore he did say he was going to bring me back some yarn to sort of say sorry I went without you, and I've got to show you that yarn. But first, he was kind enough to take some footage of the shop, and the shop owner was kind enough to let him. So yeah, why don't I show you where it was that he went and picked up yarn for me. So let's go with my husband down this alleyway, Ginnell area. It's a very sweet entrance to a shop called Kathy's Knits. So this is a yarn shop in Edinburgh in Scotland in the UK. My husband was up there on vacation and I did ask him if he could go and try and find me some interesting yarn. So into this store we go, and a sneak peek of some of the options of what he brought me back was on the sofa there. And I think what strikes me about this yarn shop is there are just so many different garments on display, so many different cushion patterns and blanket patterns, and it's so inspiring. There's lace work, there's texture work, there's colour work, really interesting, and just kind of for creatives, just to get inspiration from some of those is really helpful. Another thing I've noticed is just how many like pattern books and pattern printouts are just around the store to give people ideas of what they could be making. And then the other thing that I really like about this shop and just is drawing me to want to go there myself someday is that they have a collection of both branded manufactured yarns and also hand-dyed yarns, locally hand-dyed yarns. So you'll have to ask the shop workers, shop owners, to tell you the stories behind those local yarns. I think that's the appeal of a shop like this, is that you can go and there is yarn available from local people, local stories. So I've heard some, they're great, but I want to encourage you to go rather than telling you them here. So that is Kathy's Knits in Edinburgh. So yes, as you could see from that footage, there was absolutely loads of yarn in that shop. There were so many hand-dyed colour variations and fabric variations that my husband had to call me up and ask for some help on what it was that I would particularly like him to get for me. Yeah, let's take a look at some of the things that he did pick up for me. So first we've got here, this is Woolrush hand spun yarn. So this is hand spun by a local spinner, and I am realizing as I read this that I need to learn so much about different sheep breeds and different like fabrics, because there's a few things on here I just didn't know at first. So the fibre content here of this nice hand spun yarn in the colour Shepherd's Warning is 65% merino and 35% schwabbels. Let me just show you. There we go. Which is a breed of sheep. I did have to look that up. Yeah, and so then unfortunately the label is ripped, but I can read that what we have here is 100 grams, and it is 4-ply, which means that we've got about 400 yards, or in meters that would be 369 meters, and it's recommending a 3.25mm needle. So yes, other word that I haven't worked out what this is. I don't know if this is just sort of like not a brand name as such, but a sort of a way that it's been spun or something, or this is can't be the breed of sheep because these are the breeds of sheep. But yeah, so I don't know what this is. Glenesque. When I had a Google, it's like a place in Scotland. So I don't know if it's just because this is named after that place, or if there's another meaning, if there's something else going on there, if it's a technique that's been used. I'd be really interested to find out. So I'm going to have another Google after I have finished recording and editing this video. So yes, basically really love this nice rich red here. It's kind of, yeah, it's burgundy, but it's different from my usual burgundies. I usually go for kind of claret or like a pinky burgundy kind of colour, and this actually for once kind of gives me more of a sort of undertone of brown, and I don't know if that's because there's some sort of like natural fleece underneath this dyeing, or whether it's just that's the colourway that's been done. So yeah, really happy to have this. And then I also have from the same maker, so Woolrush hand spun again here, Glenesque, and this is knitting as 4-ply. Once again, this is called College Colours. It's still 100 grams, so 400 yards, same needle size, so 3.25 mils, but the fibre for this one just says it's 100% British wool, so I don't actually know what the content in this one is. I would guess it's probably similar, because it does feel similar. There's sort of a toothiness to it that wool can have, but obviously this is in fact a really nice rich purple here. This, I mean, I don't know, would people call that a mulberry? Is that what mulberry looks like? It's kind of interesting because in this there's kind of bits that are bluer and bits that are pinker that are sort of spun in on different strands. Really like that one as well. So those two were not only hand dyed but hand spun. And then this one here, I'm not even going to begin to pronounce what this is. I definitely would need to have a little look. Is that? Not focusing very well, is it? I'll write it in the description. But this is again another local dyer, and this one caught my eye because not only is it called Nebula, but actually the colours in this skein are what you would expect in the night sky for a nebula. One of my pet peeves about people naming yarn a nebula is it shows these really vibrant pinks and purples, and that's just not what nebula is about really. Like, you will get some of those colours, but you'll actually get mostly green, and so this kind of has a much more toned down, there are the blues and greens in there, but there are also the purples in there, and actually for me this looks like it's inspired from a nebula. So yes, so colourways Nebula, it's a 4-ply it's a 4-ply fingering weight yarn. This is actually superwash. It's blue faced Leicester, so 75% blue faced Leicester and 25% nylon, so it's a typical kind of sock weight composition there. It says it's high twist, which, I mean, I don't know how well you can see, but it does look quite twisty there. Quite high twist. Yeah, and it's got some care instructions inside the label as well, which is nice. And this is a very soft, so it's still got that little bit of toothiness of woolly, but it's a lot softer than these, and this is probably just because this isn't superwash, maybe, I'm not sure, or maybe it's because of how it's been twisted, but this one kind of is a little bit spongier, a little bit softer, and of course I love all of these, absolutely love them. And I now have no idea what I want to make with any of these because I can't bear to start making them into something just yet. So yes, that's going to be a bit difficult for me. But that's kind of, I'm not in any rush to make things out of these just yet. I'm kind of building a little bit of a collection so that I can see, okay, this has the same content as that one, and they do have a nice colour match, and so actually I want to pair them together, that sort of thing. So I'm not in a rush to make something out of these, but they are beautiful, 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 and I have to keep them nice and safe from horrible moths. So yes, really happy with those acquisitions. And I suppose, seeing as I'm talking about yarn that my husband brought back, I should probably share one of his little makes with you, because my husband has finally agreed to learning how to crochet. His reasons are because he wants to crochet anime amigurumis, and he also wants to crochet like pixel art corner to corner work, things for like computerized pixel art. So he's definitely very much like anime and gaming inspired in his crafting exploration, but I'm fine with that. I am also, you know, I do science things on this podcast. I do make amigurumis that are sort of part of gaming culture and things, so I am 100% fine. If that is the motivation that he needs to join me in my yarning quest, then he can do that. But this is what he has started. So this is corner to corner with a colour changing yarn, and he did really well actually. He picked it up quite quickly. So he went ahead and finished this square off just to kind of get a feel for it. And he's like, when do we do the next bit? When do we do the next bit? Because he wants to learn now how to change colour so that he can make pixel art out of this technique. So yes, that's exciting. I thought I'd just show you that as well as I wrap this video up. So yes, more yarn acquisitions to come in future videos. I have been to a few yarn shops myself this time, so I've got some things to show you from those, and also at some point progress as well. I hopefully have some progress on some projects to show you not too soon, in the not too distant future. It's all dependent on when I get time to record, of course, when I get time to make and when I get time to record. But yeah, super excited. There's a few things coming up that I can't wait to show you. So yeah, stay tuned, and yeah, have a nice week, and I'll see you in another video. Bye for now, everyone.